Hello everyone, welcome to the full mug for this second part, yeast starter. Actually I didn't use that yeast, I kept it here. So we will be seeing the making a starter and also washing away and keeping the yeast saved for, well, in the future. I can use it to brew a beer, or actually I should do a second starter and then use it in the beer, or it's the same technique basically that we can use to reuse yeast after the primary fermentation. Instead of throwing away the yeast cake, we can wash it and use, and even in those situations just get 3, 4 or 5 of these jars with yeast for future brews. Let's see that. Making a yeast starter, it's very easy. It's actually making a mini beer, 1 liter, 2 liters, and pitching the yeast. I usually use 100 grams of dry malt extract per liter. I'm making a 2 liter yeast starter today. The yeast, refractometer to check gravity. We want to be at between 1030 and 1040. And the rest from the material, airlock, scissor, just to cut the yeast. I've been already sanitizing here also the package, the scissor, the thing for the refractometer, and even the how do you call this, Almayer, where we will brew the yeast starter. I used the first yeast starters. I used this thing, but well, it went pretty well actually. So it's almost coming to a boil. I'll take it out. I'll turn the heat off and stir in the dry malt extract, and we'll start to prepare our yeast starter here. Stir it in and then turn the heat back on. I've boiled it for 10 minutes and now it's resting here with cold water in the sink. It's best to change it a couple of times because this water will heat up very quickly, and otherwise will take very long to cool the beer down to pitching temperature. We're at pitching temperature. Just pour the beer in and pitch the yeast closed with an airlock, and let the nature make its magic. This will aerate a little bit the wort. And we're done. Now we have two possibilities to do this well, 1-2 days before brew day, and when it's at its maximum activity, throw everything in the beer, just pitch everything, or just let it ferment for 3 days, and then stick it in the fridge for 2-3 days. The yeast will drop down, will go into a sleeping mode, and then you just throw off the beer and just use the bottom, the yeast that will be sitting here in the bottom. If you have a stir plate, perfect, otherwise just stir it up very carefully whenever you can, a few times a day, and you will get more cells in the end. Okay, so this was an old package. It was for free. They in the brew shop when the yeast is old, past 6 months, they just sometimes give it away. I bought it. I brought it. I put it in the fridge, and that was 3-4 months ago. I activated with the smack pack, and after 3 days it began to swell. So let's see if it's if we have some cells and we can multiply them here and use this in our next beer. Let's see. We are now 36 hours later. Our zombie yeast is it's alive, it's working. We have airlock activity, and you see here, I think you can see the bubbles climbing up, and the idea is to once in a while stir up, agitate it carefully to get the yeast back up in suspension. Here is our zombie yeast 2.5 days after pitching. Working pretty nice. I don't think we have lots of cells, but I'll give it another day and stick it in the fridge, wash it, and maybe make another starter to multiply, and we will be brewing one of these days a zombie ale. After 3 days in the fridge, we get this kind of mini yeast cake, just to throw away the beer. Meanwhile, I boil the jars for 10 minutes, and then we will use that same water to wash the yeast. When the water has cooled down, we will put it in and agitate, and we'll get a suspension. Then we wait 20 to 30 minutes, and we will be starting to see layers. The yeast cells are in the upper layer. We pour it out and then just throw away the rest. And that was it. That was how I got to this. Now I can just throw away this liquid and use this for a starter, and that starter just pitch that yeast to a new beer, and I will surely do that in the near future. Just one thing, using or not an airlock, I've heard of people that say that just using that aluminum foil, it's even better, that allows a better gas exchange and oxygen. That's before I had that phase. I used some other thing that was always covered with aluminum foil. I never had a problem with that. Now I use it. I've done a few times with airlock. It works also. It feels safer, But anyway, you can just skip the airlock and use aluminum foil. And then Well, and that's it for now. I think now we've reviewed a couple of ingredients and techniques. Now we are ready for our last phase, our last episode. In next video, that will be brewing all grain with a simple brew in a bag technique. And that was it. I'll see you next time. Cheers.